Namaskar Mitro, today I have for you Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. Friends, the Tragedy of Julius Caesar is a historic tragic play by William Shakespeare, first performed in 1599, so it's that very old. It is one of the several plays written by Shakespeare based on true events of the Roman history. Julius Caesar was a Roman general and a statesman who played a critical role in the events that led to the demise of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. Set in Rome in 44 BC, the play depicts the moral dilemma of Brutus as he joins the conspiracy led by Cassius to murder Julius Caesar to prevent him from becoming the dictator of Rome. Following Caesar's death, Rome is thrust into a period of civil war, and the republic which the conspirators sought to preserve is lost forever. Friends, let me first describe the main characters of the play to you through a few slides. Please read them intently, and I'll join you after that to take you through the synopsis of this particular plot, which is very interesting. With the two elected officials in Rome discovering the commoners of Rome celebrating Julius Caesar's triumphant return from defeating the sons of his military rival Pompey, who's a leading general. These officials then insult the crowd for their change in loyalty from Pompey to Caesar. The officials then attempt to end the celebrations and break up with the commoners, who also return their insults. Later, during the feast of Lupercal, a Roman festival, Caesar holds a victory parade when a soothsayer warns him, "Beware of the Ides of March." Now, Ides of March is the 74th day in the Roman calendar that corresponds to 15th March, which means be careful as your life is in danger around that time, which Caesar ignores. Meanwhile, Cassius attempts to convince Brutus to join his conspiracy to kill Caesar. Although Brutus is friendly with Caesar, he is hesitant to kill him, but he agrees that Caesar might be abusing his power, so he needs to be killed. They then hear from Casca that Mark Antony, who has offered Caesar the crown of Rome three times, and that each time Caesar refused it with increasing reluctance, in a hope that the crowd watching would beg him to accept the crown. Yet the crowd applauded Caesar for denying the crown, upsetting Caesar, who actually wanted to accept the crown. On the eve of the Ides of March, the conspirators meet and reveal that they have forged letters of support from the Roman people to tempt Brutus into joining the gang that would kill Caesar. Brutus reads the letters and, after much moral debate, decides to join the conspiracy, thinking that Caesar should be killed to prevent him from doing anything against the people of Rome if he were ever to be crowned. After ignoring the soothsayer as well as his wife, Calpurnia's own premonitions, who was either the third or the fourth wife of Julius Caesar and the one to whom he was married at the time of his assassination. According to contemporary sources, she was a good and faithful wife in spite of her husband's infidelity, and had forewarned Caesar of the attempt on his life, but she endeavored in vain to prevent his murder. Caesar goes to the Senate. The conspirators approach him with a fake petition pleading on behalf of Metellus, Cimber's banished brother. Now, Metellus Cimber is a Roman senator and also an assassin of Julius Caesar. As Caesar predictably rejects the petition, Casca and others suddenly stab him. Brutus is last. At this point, Caesar utters those very famous lines, "Et tu, Bruta," and "you, Brutus," and "you too, Brutus." The scene concludes with the quote, "Then fall, Caesar." which means that Caesar will fall both as a man and also as the ruler of Rome. Conspirators make it clear that they committed the murder for the good of Rome, not for their own purposes, and do not attempt to flee the scene. Brutus delivers an oration defending his own actions, and for the moment the crowd is on his side. However, Mark Antony makes a subtle and eloquent speech over Caesar's corpse, beginning with the much quoted, "Friends, Romans and countrymen, lend me your ears." With this, he deftly turns the public opinion against the assassins by manipulating the emotions of the common people. In contrast to the rational tone of Brutus's speech, he reminds them of the good that Caesar had done for Rome, his sympathy with the poor, and his refusal of the crown at the Lupercal festival, thus questioning Brutus's claim of Caesar's ambition. In other words, he tried to tell the public that Brutus's claim were not sincere and Caesar had done a lot for Rome. He shows Caesar's bloodied, lifeless body to the crowd to have them shed tears and gain sympathy for their fallen hero. He reads Caesar's will, in which every Roman citizen would receive 75 drachmas, that is the Greek currency. Antony finally manages to rouse the mob to drive the conspirators away from Rome. Brutus next attacks Cassius for supposedly soiling the noble act of regicide. Now, regicide is the deliberate killing of a monarch by accepting bribes. So, Brutus gets very upset with Cassius for supposedly accepting bribes. The two later reconcile, especially after Brutus reveals that his beloved wife has committed suicide under the stress of his absence from Rome. They prepare for a civil war against Mark Antony, who happens to be quite a character in this play, and Caesar's adopted son Octavius, who have formed a triumvirate, a group in Rome with Lepidus, a Roman general. That night, Caesar's ghost appears in front of Brutus with a warning of defeat. He informs Brutus, "Thou shalt see me at Philippi," a Greek city. Thereafter, at the Battle of Philippi, Cassius and Brutus, knowing well that they will probably both die, smile their best last smiles at each other and hold hands. During the battle, Cassius has his servant kill him after he hears of the capture of his best friend, Titinius, nobleman of Rome and a friend of Cassius and a conspirator in Caesar's death. After Titinius, who was not really captured, sees Cassius's corpse, he commits suicide. However, Brutus wins that stage of the battle, but his victory is not conclusive. With a heavy heart, Brutus battles again the next day. He loses and commits suicide by running on his own sword held for him by a loyal soldier. The play ends with a tribute to Brutus by Antony, who proclaims that Brutus has remained the noblest Roman of them all, because he was the only conspirator who acted in his mind for the good of Rome and was never jealous of Caesar. Though Brutus acted in the interest of Rome as per Antony, but in the process he did kill his friend Caesar, after which his name, Brutus, became the best metaphor for stabbing at the back. So that's all I have for you today, friends. Goodbye and see you soon.